The former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Speaker McCarthy, great to see you again. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Well, thank you for the invitation to join you.
Well, your reaction to that rally last night in New Jersey and this idea that foreign policy is being criticized of President Biden just as much as his economic policy.
Well, that was extraordinary. You have to understand, New Jersey, not a place that people think Republicans would ever compete, but the size of the crowd. Could President Biden get that crowd in the heart of New York or in the most Democrat state? Could he do it in California? The answer is no. And the other thing that we're hearing coming out of the White House itself is the White House is now saying President Biden needs to campaign less, talk less, because he gets in trouble while doing it. This is President Trump showing no matter what they throw at him, he's going to fight back. He's going to lead this nation on the issues they care most about. And a very compelling issue. You had an interesting statistic up there about independent voters. There was another poll out there that showed independent voters by 53% to 42% believed a second term of the Biden administration would be a greater harm to democracy, because all of this is backfiring. This persecution of President Trump, going after him because of politics. No one in America believes President Trump would be in a trial today if he was not running for president.
Yeah.
They're coming after our democracy.
Yeah.
And it just shows last night with that crowd. You got Lawrence Taylor. You have Democrats in that crowd, independents. I would be very concerned if I was in the White House today.
Independents are also very upset by President Biden's decision to hold back shipments to Israel. You were just in Israel, I know, and he's basically saying, do it this way, or we're not even going to share information with you, intelligence that it has about where the Hamas terrorists are if they go into Rafah.
We will study this decision for a century. This is one of the greatest harms to American philosophy going around the world. Remember, when Israel was created 75 years ago, the first country to recognize them within 11 minutes was America. We have always said it's one of our greatest allies. Even President Biden within the last year said he will always stand with Israel. Then what has transpired? Israel was attacked on October 7th. There are hostages being held to this day. There are American hostages being held. And now President Biden, just weeks after Republicans and Democrats bound together by overwhelming numbers to fund Israel, to withhold it for a terrorist organization. He's picking a terrorist organization. He's picking politics of college campuses. And you have to think how this will set us back with our allies and our enemies. Since President Biden came into office, we have now something that hasn't happened in 80 years. You now have an axis of evil. Yeah. Iran, Russia, and China bounding together like the 1930s. You have 5 American embassies that had to be evacuated. You have Russians now entering American base in Africa and asking Americans to leave. You now watch that China has entered the Middle East, brokering relationships with Saudi Arabia and Iran, a job that America used to do. This is all based, and then Afghanistan. The decision on Afghanistan, those 13 American Gold Star families leaving Americans behind, and now Israel, this is some of the greatest damage to American foreign policy we have seen in decades, and will take decades to solve it. And he's doing this based upon a political decision that is fundamentally wrong, playing into the hands of a terrorist organization while keeping our border wide open and America vulnerable more than we've been in centuries.
Well, that's the most extraordinary part of it. And, Speaker, I want to get your take on what you just heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I got to get your reaction about another effort to take down the current Speaker, Mike Johnson. What goes on in these meetings where you go in there and you can't get any leeway whatsoever in terms of securing the border, and you keep going with the way things are going and the way things have been doing? Again, we're seeing this with Mike Johnson.
Well, I disagree with our ability of not being able to secure the border. You know, yesterday was the one-year anniversary that we were able to pass H.R. 2, the strongest border security bill that Congress has ever watched. Well, we passed that. What you have to do is not give up on it. Watch everything we are able to accomplish in the first 9 months. Not just border security, but could cut $2 trillion, reform welfare, Parents' Bill of Rights, energy independence, knocking down Washington, D.C. when they wanted to decriminalize so many different bills, standing up for individuals. We were able to stop the pandemic when the president said he would not sign it. When you stick together, there's nothing you cannot achieve. Don't play into the hands of Democrats. Look, I opposed when 8 Republicans joined all the Democrats to do a motion to vacate, and I oppose it when more Republicans today do it. It is wrong. Let's bound together, stick on the issues of what American cares most about: the border, inflation, American foreign policy, making our parents have a say in their kids' education, bringing down the price of fuel, making sure that government is not dictating, and this weaponization of government. Remember, I created a select committee on the weaponization of government.
Right.
We created a select committee on China. We have the tools to govern. The Republicans just have to bound together and not let Hakeem Jeffries say that he is the Speaker and the majority in the House.
And you just heard it. He said it specifically. Speaker, do you support Mike Johnson?
I support Mike Johnson. And look, it is a tough job, but the thing Republicans need to do, focus on what we've done. Do not give up on H.R. 2. You can do Ukraine and the border at the exact same time. That's what we would have done last year. That's what we would have been able to accomplish.
I want to thank you so much for being here today, Speaker McCarthy, especially since I know that this is your first Mother's Day without your mom, who passed earlier this year. How wonderful it must feel to you that you took her to this state dinner at the White House. You actually even took her on some travel. You took her to Israel as well.
Yes. To all mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. But give your mother an extra hug from me. I lost my mom just a couple months ago. God blessed me with a tremendous mother, and I was able to take her to Israel. She talked to Bibi. She went to locations that on October 7th were raided, and she saw firsthand. And I took her to the state dinner as well. And mothers make such a difference in everyone's lives, and I wish every mother a happy Mother's Day.
Our condolences to you, Speaker McCarthy. Thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. We will see you soon. Kevin McCarthy. We'll be right back.